So hi there everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make up this cute little ghost applique. He has a lovely little frilly edging. Now you can add these to garments, maybe hats or scarves. You could add a brooch back and turn them into badges. You can even add them to frames and make up some scary artwork. It's entirely up to you. So for our ghost today, I'm going to be using a DK weight yarn. I'm going to use my 4mm hook. You're going to need a pair of scissors and a darning needle. And a little scrap piece for his mouth. Now you can make these ghosts larger or smaller by going up a yarn size and the appropriate hook. So you can have thinner yarn or thicker yarn will affect the size of your ghosts. So to start with, we're going to make his body. So I'm just going to put a slip knot on my hook. Tighten that up. We're going to chain 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we're going to work back along this chain. We're going to work in the back loops. So if I turn my chain towards me, you can see the back loop of each chain going down here. Now, a lot of people call these the back humps. So I'm going to be working using UK doubles, that's US singles, working along the chain in those back humps. So the UK double is just push your hook through, grab the yarn, pull through. You have 2 loops. Grab the yarn, pull through. 2. Okay, so we're going to work along our chain, just working in those back humps. That's 2, all the way along. 3. I find when crocheting in the back hump, it helps to have a decent fingernail. So working back along this chain, I'm putting in 10 double crochets and then I will have 1 chain left, so 1 back hump here. So in this final back hump, I'm going to put in 4 doubles. So recapping, that is 4 US singles. 2, just try and mind this tail end out of the way. 3 and 4. And then you can tighten up your tail end. If you just tug, we'll close that stitch up nicely. And you will notice those 4 stitches have taken us around the corner. So you've guessed it, we're going to work back along this chain. This time, if I turn my stitches towards you, we're going to be working in the back loop again. So this isn't the back hump. This is the back loop. If you look down on your stitches, you can see those V's nicely. We're working under the back loop. So you should have 10 to work along. Let's just check. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then that last one the back loop here. Whoops, okay, so we're just going to work along, putting in our 10 UK doubles. 1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
So that's round 1 completed. Your work should look something like this. And if you go round and check, you should have 24 stitches. Now for round 2. You're going to chain 1 up and turn your work. Now we're working as we normally do, so going under both loops on each stitch. We're going to start in the next 10 stitches. We're going to put 1 double crochet. So that's 1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
In the next 4 stitches around, we're going to increase in each stitch, so that means putting 2 stitches in the same stitch. So that's 1 increase. I've put 2 stitches in that stitch. In the next stitch around, we're going to increase, so that's putting in 2 stitches. In the next stitch around, we're going to increase, and in the next one we're going to increase. In the next 10 stitches we're going to put in 1 double crochet in each stitch. 8, 9, and that last one is a little bit fiddly. That's 10. Okay, so we're growing a little bit, we're growing out. We have finished round 2. You should have 28 stitches. So for round 3, we're going to chain 1 up, turn our work. In the next 10 stitches, we're just going to put in those doubles. So 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
9, and 10. In the next stitch around, we're going to increase, so that's 2 in 1 stitch. This is our first increase on this round. In the next stitch, we're just going to put 1 double. In the next stitch, we're going to put our second increase, so that's 2 in 1 stitch. In the next stitch, we're going to put 1 double. In the next stitch, this is our third increase, so that's 2 in 1. In the next stitch, 1 double. In the next stitch, we're going to do our fourth increase. In the next stitch, 1 double. In the next 10 stitches, we're going to be putting in 1 double crochet in each stitch. 2,
3, 4,
and 10. That's the end of round 3. You should have 32 stitches going around. So we're going to start round 4 by chaining 1, turning our work. In the next 10 stitches, we're going to put in 1 double crochet. 3, 4,
5, 6, 7, 8,
9 and 10. In the next stitch, we're going to do our first increase. So again, that's 2 stitches in the same stitch. In the next 2 stitches, we're just going to put 1 stitch. So that one, and the next stitch. In the next stitch, we're going to do our second increase. In the next 2 stitches, just 1 stitch. In the next stitch, our third increase. In the next 2, just 1 stitch. In the next stitch, our fourth increase. In the next 2, just 1 stitch. In the next 10 stitches, just 1 stitch in each stitch. 2, 3, 9 and 10. So at the end of round 4, you should have 36 stitches going around. So I'm going to do one more round to my ghost. So for round 5, we're going to chain 1 up, turn our work, you've guessed it, in the next 10 stitches, we just put in 1 double crochet in each stitch. 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10.
The next stitch is our first increase. So that's 2 in the same stitch. In the next 1, 2, 3 stitches, we're just going to put in 1 stitch. 2, 3. In the next stitch, it's our second increase. 2. In the next 3 stitches, we're just putting in 1 stitch. You can see how this is forming now. In the next stitch, our third increase. In the next 1, 2, 3, just 1 stitch. 1, 2, 3. In the next stitch, our fourth increase. In the next 1, 2, 3, just 1 stitch. 1, 2, 3. You'll have 10 stitches. You'll put 1 stitch in each stitch, and I will meet you down here. So at the end of round 5, you should have 40 stitches going all the way around. I'm just going to pull up a loop. This is the main part of our ghost's body. All we need to do now is put a little frilly edge on his bottom. Now, if I place my work wrong ways up, I'm going to grab my needle. You can see naturally you're going to have 1, 2, 3. Make sure your third hole is in the middle, so sort of lined up with this centerpiece. 4 and 5 natural holes. What I tend to do, go along, as you've just seen me do, with my needle and just make them a little bit bigger, and I can see where I'm going to be working into. Putting my hook back in, working in the first hole here, I'm just going to put in 4 UK trebles. So that's 4 US doubles. A UK treble is yarn over first, push through, grab your yarn, pull through. I have 3 loops. Grab my yarn, pull through 2, pull through 2. So that's 1 UK treble. I need to put in this same hole here another 3. So that's 2, 3 and 4. So that's 4 in total. In the same hole, I'm just going to slip stitch. So push through, grab the yarn, pull through and pull through the loop that is on your hook. And you can see we've made this little shape here. So in the next hole across, I'm putting in 4 trebles. So 1,
2, 3,
4. Again, in the same hole, I'm going to slip stitch. What this is doing is sort of anchoring our work down. Okay, and we have 2 little frills. So again, if I show you, we've got 1, 2, 3 holes left, making sure that this one, the third one, is pretty much in the center, lined up with our center line here. Again, in there, 4 trebles. 1,
2, 3 and 4.
Again, a slip stitch through that same hole. We need to do 2 more, so these 2 holes here. In this one, I'm putting in 4 trebles. Not forgetting that slip stitch. So we've got 4 little frills. We need 1 more in this hole here, putting in 4 trebles. Now this time, instead of slip stitching into the same hole, I'm going to identify my first stitch going up of the last round, so the first stitch of the 10 going up. I'm going to identify that one and I'm going to slip stitch in that stitch to join. Okay, I'm going to cut my yarn and I'm going to pull through. I'm going to thread my darning needle. Now taking this to the next stitch to the left along, I'm just going to go through, taking that yarn through to the back. Now at this stage you can either weave in your ends, or if you're going to use this as an applique, leave those ends and you can use them to sew on. But you can see we have our ghost body with these fabulous frills at the bottom. Now we need to add his face. So for the eyes, I'm using my black yarn. I'm also going to be using just a little offcut of the white so that we can add the little glisten in his eye. I'm going to leave my tails long. Okay, so we're starting with a long tail and ending so that we can use those to sew him on, okay. I'm still using my 4mm hook. So I'm going to be using the magic circle or magic ring, whatever you call it. My tail end is at the front. I'm going to wrap my yarn around those fingers. I go under, grab that yarn, pull through, just take out those fingers, picking up my working yarn, not my tail. I am going to chain to secure. I take out my tail. It is the magic circle. If I pull on my original tail, that circle closes up. If you do have a real problem doing the magic circle, magic ring, you can always chain 4, join as a loop, and then you can work within that. I know some people find that a little bit fiddly. Once you've got the hang of it, it's a lot easier. We're going to be working in our circle here. I'm going to be putting in 6 UK doubles. Now this chain up to secure, I'm not counting that as a stitch. So in here, I'm going to put 6. So that's 1, 2,
3, 4, 5, and 6.
So I'm going to pull on my original tail, and that's going to close that centre up nicely. Just making sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. I'm going to be joining in that first stitch, going through 2 loops, and we're going to slip stitch to join. Okay, so I'm going to cut my yarn. Again, I'm just pulling through. I'm going to thread my darning needle. So like we did with the ghost, I'm just going to thread my darning needle and then take this end in the next stitch to the left. I'm just taking it through to the back. Okay, so both of my ends are on the back, ready to be used to sew onto my ghost. So again, I'm going to thread up my little piece of white yarn. And then simply to make the glisten in his eye, I'm going to come up through 1 stitch, it doesn't matter which one. Leave a tail at the back and then go to the next stitch and then just go back down so that both tails are again on the back. And you have his little glisten. Then what I want to do is take both white tails to the centre of the back of your eye. So just that one's going in there, that one. You just want them sort of in the middle. in there, and then I'm simply going to knot my 2 white tails together. Don't pull these too tight, otherwise your stitch on the front's going to disappear. So I'm just going to double knot and then snip these ends off. So there's my glisten. I don't want to pull through too tightly. And then I'm just going to snip those ends off. So now we need to add his eyes. As you can see, I've already added one. This is because I forgot to press go on my camera. So I thought I was showing you, but I wasn't. So they're both put on in exactly the same way, so not to panic. I'm going to show you with this one. Now you can, with your pins, just pin them into place to start with. Okay, so I'm going to thread my needle up. You can use maybe one tail end going this way, the other going the other way. My tail end is already on the back, so I just push my needle through. Okay, I like to have mine as close to possible. You need to have the little glisten matching, and then I'm simply going to go up and down using those outside stitches as my guide. So I make sure I come up using that stitch as my guide. I catch 2 loops and then using the next stitch around, I go down. I'd switched to a larger needle. I'm going back to my small one. That's the postman. So I've gone down, now I'm coming back up again. If you can see, I'm catching 2 loops on my hook, on my needle, and then the next stitch around, I'm going back down. So you're just going to do this all the way around for both of your eyes, but just make sure that you're going to end with both tails on the back. So I'm happy that my eyes are nice and secure. I have both tail ends are now on the back. All I'm going to do is just knot off. I'll use a double knot. And then I will just simply cut my yarn. And he can now see. So I'm going to add a little smile. I have threaded up my red. What I want to do is make the smile as central as possible. So I'm going to come up this hole and I'm going to go down this hole. You can see this is our center line. Okay, so I'm coming up. Leave a reasonable tail. Again, we're just going to knot this off. We're going to go down. Okay, but don't take this yarn too tightly. Okay, leave a loop at the moment. I'm going to come up. If you can see, I've gone down slightly and in the middle of these 2. Then I'm going to catch that loop. Okay, and then I'm going to go down the same hole. Now we can tighten this up in a moment. If you can see, it brings his smile down. And then if I just tighten at the back, you can see we have a lovely smile. And then once you're happy, I'm simply going to knot these 2 tails off. And there you have your cute little ghost applique. Now, if you enjoyed this tutorial, please do give me a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel, and I will see you here next time. Bye-bye.